So do we want to talk about what actually happened inside of the Cheers bar?
Not much, because it's so fucking loud in there. That audio person should be fucking fired.
I was watching it last night with Pat. He goes, "Hey, can we get a lav here?" Hi, hello, and welcome to another brand spanking new episode of another Bachelor podcast. My name's Dylan. I'm saddled up next to Unreal Nicholas Davis.
What's going on, everybody?
Pat, the producer of the podcast, over there behind the glass.
Hi, guys. Good to be here.
All right, week 3, it's heating up. General thoughts, jump into them.
Is it only week 3?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Is it week 3 or week 4?
Week 4.
Oh,
Week
okay.
4.
Ooh,
No, but
wee.
but
Strong start, Dill. Week 4, man, great week. Hot episode, general thoughts, Nick.
Newport!
Okay, Pat, what are your general thoughts?
I really enjoyed the episode. They're doing a great job. I'm super impressed by Hannah. I will say this.
Yeah.
Hannah's higher than a motherfucking kite. 75% of this episode, she is
Like
hot.
pharmaceuticals?
Oh, no. As I've discussed on an episode that we never released, she's admitted to being bipolar. This is that natural kind of medication in your body that forces you to have some mood swings.
General thoughts for me?
Oh.
Terrific episode. Love seeing Luke P flip out. Love seeing two adversaries rise to the top. I'm excited for the 2-on-1 in week 5. I can count ultimately. Okay, so the sun rises on the mansion, and the gentlemen are mourning their dear friend, who I'm confident did find the time to pen a letter to each and every one of them.
Always be Cam.
ABC. Mike, the pig, halts this incredibly emotional shared experience and says, can we talk about how fire Hannah was last night? The pig.
He's overcompensating, Micro Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to talk about somebody who's overcompensating? Oh, Chris Shitface comes in. You want to talk about somebody who's high? Chris is a little too friendly. He's not hosty enough. I think he's getting a little too big for his britches. I mean, he's slapping envelopes on his palm, and he's walking around like his shoes have been cleaned. And
I can't agree more. He's getting really lazy, but I like it. I like seeing him just enjoying himself. Let's not lie. He doesn't have to be there, right? And
Yeah.
he knows it, and he's having a good time.
I just don't think he's earned it. I don't think he's put in enough time. Chris does have a crucial piece of information. Before he tells them that, he reminds them all once again that Hannah is looking for marriage, which I thought was very important, and then tells everybody that we are headed to the land where old money frolics. Mm-hmm. Rhode Island.
Newport, specifically, because there's a vast difference between Rhode Island,
Providence.
proper. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes, and they're separated by a great body of water.
Oh, wow.
A 2-mile bridge. It's scary as hell to drive the fuck
What a
out there.
perfect barrier to keep the poor out.
Yeah, one side of the water has murder.
So Providence is just filthy clam people, and then Newport is caviar.
Old money. It's like the Hamptons. It's essentially the equivalent.
Is that East Egg, West Egg? Is that what that's based off of? That sounds an awful lot like Gatsby.
We brought up this earlier, and I looked it up. No, it was in New York, I believe,
was in
that it
New
was
York.
like representing. But yeah,
I mean, this sounds like the eggs.
it did. It crossed my mind as well.
Okay, so they are nonetheless very, very excited about the prospect of travel, as is obligatory if you're going to compete on this show. Also obligatory, be very excited about new digs. Their hotel is, what? Did you write down the name?
Gurney's.
Yeah, they were thrilled to have new beds, new scenery.
And I like this. We downplay this. They never say that you will never see this mansion again, but they will never see that mansion again. Mm.
Yeah, I took note of that too. And I thought it was crazy that they're bringing 15 guys around the world. Like, some of these guys are non-essential for sure, you know?
Oh, yeah, Grant is still there. I don't know how, but
There are about 4 guys that I know their name, and I'm usually good with names, but a lot of these guys, I'm like,
Yeah.
who? There's the Dylans and the Garretts and they all have the
have to go
hair,
with-
as you pointed
you
out.
don't have to go with Dylan
And
first.
Mateo Noeo. Why the fuck is he still there?
I don't think Garrett is in that class of people anymore. I'm getting ahead of myself. He has a good showing this episode, but Mateo, Mateo's not said 6 words this show.
No.
We're week 3.
Or 4.
So,
Pretty sure.
well, agree to disagree. The date card gets dropped, and it is Jed. He's going to go out for a lovely day on the town in Boston. Now, Pat, how far away is Boston from Newport?
Oh, it's got to be at least an hour and a half.
Hour and a half drive.
Newport's about an hour and a half south of Boston.
Okay, well,
I just love this move. Like, we're going to go to Newport because
Right.
it's way cheaper and not in Boston. And then we're going to fly 2 of you to Boston because there's nothing to do in Newport for a date.
yeah. Well, while he's traveling to Boston, we get a little bit of a history lesson from Hannah.
I did like some of her fake facts.
She was so adorable when she's going around town just listing off all these fake facts.
Paul Revere invented the bicycle. Funny. That's funny.
This is where Thomas Jefferson's first interview was.
Ronald McDonald got the idea for the Golden Arches
Yeah.
because of that one iconic building in
Look,
Boston.
maybe I'm a jerk. Because if I was on a date with her, I'd be frustrated by this lack of improv skill.
I'm frustrated by the R absent every time you say that word.
What word? What are we talking about?
I do want to kind of even the seesaw since we got some fake facts about Boston.
Oh,
I did bring some real facts about Boston. Just 3 quick ones.
what's seesaw?
Seesaw?
Oh, seesaw. Got it.
Yeah, seesaw. Some actual facts about Boston.
Yeah, this is exciting.
The first American lighthouse was built in Boston Harbor in 1716.
Yep.
Wow.
I love when Pat gets excited about your facts.
Me too.
Wow.
The Boston Public Library, founded in 1849.
Yeah.
I don't have this written down, but which I've been to,
Okay.
was the nation's first public library.
Yeah. They
And-
put a stress on reading.
At number 3, honestly, this one's fun. Okay, the other 2 are a little mundane.
Yeah.
In 1919, a tank full of 2 million gallons of molasses
Oh, yeah.
broke and flooded the North End,
Yeah.
killing 21 brave souls.
Such a comical tragedy. Unbelievable.
You kind of have to laugh as you're dying. Like,
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that would be a horrific death. Being drowned in the thickest thing you could possibly fall into.
I don't know if I've ever told you guys how much I hate being sticky.
no.
Dude, I'm with you, brother.
That's the worst way to go.
I bet people are like, you're like walking around like you're different like barbecues and stuff. Like people are just content with, they're okay with having sticky stuff on their hands. Like they're talking to people. And you're like, oh, you have to wash that off immediately. How are you talking to people like that?
I can't believe I had to wait 4 years of knowing you guys until I discovered this. Wow. Why? Wow. Don't hold back that anymore.
Well, I you can joke about it all you want, but I mean, people who eat Otter Pops and then don't go wash their hands after, I don't know, disconcerting.
Lots of types of pops.
Lots of types of pops. You got to keep that wrapping wrapped tight around the bottom of the stick. So you said that you would have been feigning your way through this date. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's exactly what this little jawbreaker of a man did. He showed up. She's obviously very, very comfortable around him. She's being herself, which I think is a little bit overbearing for him. And overall, I just thought that he's not really into her.
I agree 100%.
Or do we want to go to the Cheers bar?
We do.
Yeah.
I always have. Now, Pat grew up there.
Yeah.
Well, north of there, but I certainly spent some time in Boston. Mm-hmm.
Did you ever frequent the Cheers bar?
I have, and I was very disappointed. My recollection is it had been completely, it was essentially a tourist trap of all Cheers memorabilia, and not really a fun place that you could, see the local mailman or the fat guy that's out of work.
Oh, so you thought it was just going to be the way that it was in the show.
This 13-year-old, yes.
Okay, got it. Did you write a Yelp review?
No, I did not.
Interesting.
Well, 886 people have rated on Yelp.
Yeah.
Which is kind of low, actually.
That is kind of low, thinking about the status of that place.
Yeah, but a lot of people echoed Pat's sentiment. Pat, what would you say? What would you guess as a Yelp rating for the Cheers bar since you frequented?
Well, all right. So we're factoring in tourists coming to the city to visit this landmark of a beloved show. So they have expectations.
Savvy.
But you also have the locals that are probably very annoyed by this bar.
Cynical.
So
Savvy.
and Bostonians, they tell you what they think, and they enjoy telling you how much they hate you.
Yeah.
3 stars.
Wow. I would have put it at 2.5.
3 stars.
Damn.
What his logic was flawless.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
a lot of what I read in the reviews. Gleeful tourists and pissed off locals. Although I do have a pissed off out of towner, John L. from Chicago, Illinois. 92 reviews, Elite for 19. Relatively new, but he's into it.
Well, he's getting
Obviously.
you better serve him up correctly because if you don't, you're going to pay the price.
He's on a tear in the new year. But here he goes. He gives 1 star.
Oh wow.
Oh, would he have given it 0 if he could?
I think it's implied by what he writes, but not those specific words. I used to hang out here many years ago when it was the Bull and Finch bar, early mid-'70s. Worked behind the bar at a parking garage during college days. Recently in town last week for a legal convention and was requested to take clients here, probably from all the hype. That's really good for him. That he went for bartending in his hometown to...
He didn't say he was a lawyer. He said legal convention.
Yeah, no, I'm not convinced
He's
that
got a
this
booth.
man isn't collecting disability and punching the wall in the afternoon.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I continue. He continues. First misstep was we were taken upstairs to a tiny table by the door. Are you kidding? So, sat at the bar and ordered some quote-unquote food. If that is what it is called, tasteless french fries, some rock-hard chicken quote-unquote tenders.
Yeah.
That is ironic. They're called tenders if they were hard.
Oh, yeah, it's ironic.
Which were probably
Hang on 1 second. I love when people get really irate about the quality of the chicken tender and the French fry.
Yeah.
This is okay.
No, it's poor people food. And by the way, idiot, you're in Boston, right next to the ocean. This is a seafood town, you piece of shit. Don't order chicken. You order chicken at essentially what is a seafood place. You deserve what you get, man. You get what you deserve.
hard chicken tenders is an oxymoron, though. I'd be pissed too. He continues, which were probably in the freezer since the storm of 77. Mostly rock hard, breaded, and quote unquote some chicken. Ordered some nachos, which were the next to the worst I have ever had. Worst in a town outside of Seattle.
Painting a picture.
Hardly any cheese, and what cheese there were was hardly melted. How can you screw up nachos? This place is not cheap either. $50 for hardly edible food without drinks. Left almost all uneaten. Walk by and take a pic if you absolutely have to.
Do you think that this is way too long?
We're really nearing the end, and there's a lot of punchlines in between. We could have ended it 15 seconds ago. Walk by and take a pic if you absolutely have to, but don't go in is my advice. Or just leave $50 by the door. We were almost at the end.
God, I mean, Yelp is like a goddamn light for moths, but it's not moths. It's like some of the grossest people on planet Earth.
I fell into Cheers later in life, and I like the show.
Yeah.
I check it out still.
I enjoyed that.
So, do we want to talk about what actually happened inside of the Cheers bar?
Not much, because it's so fucking loud in there. That audio person should be fucking fired.
I was watching it last night with Pat. He goes, "Hey, can we get a lav here?"
I should also mention behind the scenes here, Dylan had said off mic, of course, and he had said Jed's just here for his music career. He said that.
Yeah. That's a hot take.
Well, now, in hindsight, it's not. But then it was.
It's been apparent from the beginning. I want to get into this Halo Top ice cream. Clunky and forced product engagement segment. Whew. Thoughts?
Tinfoil hat over here. I personally just thought it was insane.
Yeah.
That they happen to run into a street vendor selling the very same company that sponsors the show.
I apologize. I should have prefaced that by saying I'm going to get a little, loose change here with you, and I apologize about that.
Alex Jones over here.
Yeah,
You're faking a fraud! So they run into a vendor out in the middle of the park and collect their ice cream. Now, it's very apparent that they have beats to hit here. Hannah says, make it sweet out of nowhere. And then she says she could eat this whole pint, and then they pan down onto the calorie count. Halo Top sucks. It tastes like plastic. And also, what they did to this talented actor is just egregious. I mean, this guy can really move inside of a role, and they relegate him to a simple merchant.
Pat had a hot take about that fella. Maybe he's such a natural. Maybe he's such a natural actor because he's not acting and he just cares about Halo Top ice cream. Pat thought maybe he's the owner.
Oh,
I'm looking that up. I'll have an answer for the audience at the conclusion of this episode, but I'm doing some digging right now.
We'll pigeonhole it into E&O.
Well, I should say that it's very distracting having you look up this menial piece of information, your head down, buried in the phone, not making eye contact with your fellow cohorts. Let's go to the Auerbach practice facility. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, Red Auerbach, classic coach.
Of course, yeah, I knew that.
And general manager of the Celtics during the good years.
Yeah, duh. So Terry Rozier, Scary Terry, and Jaylen Brown are there to meet them. Anything to talk about here?
Well, I know that Jaylen Brown happens to be a real critic of our President Trump. Very vocal about that. He hates the man. That's how I know him. He's 22 years old, though. Very smart. Very smart guy.
Are you being sarcastic about that?
No, he is. Like, his team says he's one of the smartest players they've ever played, but Jaylen actually hates his entire team and says that it's his wording is, it's a disease.
Huh. Didn't know this guy knew so much inside info about the Celtics.
I didn't know all this interesting info about Jaylen Brown. I just knew what I saw on the court, and we got like 6 and 7 men, at least the fifth guy on the court. Like, this was as low budget as it gets. We're at the practice facility. If we're in the Garden, cool day. If we're fucking talking to Jaylen Brown in their practice facility, I do not give a fuck.
Oh, is Jaylen Brown a seventh man?
He starts sometimes, but he's like fifth option, on the floor.
Got it.
He's got a nice corner three.
Okay.
He plays good D, but
got it.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. You don't have to tell me.
Regardless, this entire date bit was lame. Has Hannah expressed her love of basketball or the Celtics or Jed?
Yeah.
In fact, the opposite, as we spoke about last week. She had that deleted scene with Jonathan, who asked if she loved basketball, and he was going to shoot a shot, and she's like, "No, I don't care about basketball at all." So it was on camera. Probably why they cut it, because they ended up going to Boston. But I bet that Jonathan, short server, was just chomping at the bit at home.
Yeah,
it should have been me because he's very deluded.
Yeah,
different strokes.
She only likes violent sports like football and rugby.
Yes, that's what gets her off.
In a big way. Her crazy really comes out when she sees men slam into one another.
By the way, this was the worst part of the episode. Hey, Bachelor producers, don't try and push too much into this. Like, more doesn't mean better, okay? Just like let the characters play out, all right?
Yeah. I guess lastly, she sits down with said seventh man of the year or whatever, seventh man of the Eastern Conference. And
on his team, but he starts sometime.
He doles out some relationship advice, and I'm thinking, like, at the very least, like, you're a young man with, various different prostitutes.
He's 22, by the way.
Mm-hmm. He has to have different women in every city that they go to. This is the lore of the NBA. This is just what's done.
And he's handling all those relationships very well, enough to dispense advice.
All right, so let's get to the night date.
Night date!
Jed drops a pretty big ball here.
I have mixed feelings about...
Bomb was the word I meant to say.
What did you say?
Can you say drops a ball? No, that means you fumbled. That means you didn't do well. You drop a bomb.
That was a nice segui. We just got off the basketball court.
Oh, maybe I was... Yeah, stuck on the court. Freudian. So anyways, he drops a pretty big bomb here.
When I signed up for the show, I was so clueless. I was open to the idea because I love love. Mm-hmm. I love the idea of it. But my first thought was, this is like a huge platform. Mm-hmm. And I just want you to know the truth. So I came in with that mindset. But every moment that we've had has just kind of taken all that away and showed me that, now, more than anything, I want to be with you.
What's fascinating about this is it's the first acknowledgement that I know of on this series where a contestant actually acknowledges someone coming on, owning it, saying, I came on here to use this as a platform, not really for love.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone else plays against that. They may say, I wasn't sure what I was going to get, but now I'm falling in love. His is, no, I came in for this, and now I'm turning the corner and I'm starting to develop feelings.
Which is bullshit.
Fair enough. But I do like the acknowledgement, and now that that's out of the way, now we can get to maybe he is developing feelings. I just like the fact that it's the first acknowledgement, whether it be disingenuous and manipulative.
Yeah, it is, it is momentous that he actually acknowledged that.
Unprecedented.
Yes, it
Nice,
is unprecedented. But that doesn't mean that he's not a filthy, stinking liar. But I want to say, I think it's weird that Hannah and any bachelor or bachelorette is shielded from the not here for the right reasons card. There is no bigger example of anyone being there for the wrong reasons than anyone who signs up to spearhead this show. They're all there. The only reason Hannah reluctantly agreed to do this, she knows she would have a panic attack if she was on TV all the time, but it would be so good for her career, which is why she said yes.
Right, to be the Bachelorette. But
Yes.
also, I think you're kind of making my point, which is because we all know that this is why we came on the show, it's even more diabolical to say, this is why I came on the show. I'm acknowledging that, but now I'm here for the right reasons. That's why it's diabolical.
Yeah, so you're saying he's tearing at the fabric of the reality of this reality television show.
I'd say his transparency and honesty has gained him, a hometown.
And I don't know how genuine it is, probably not that much, but like there's no reason they wouldn't be a good couple except for the fact that once he's on the road, he's going to want to just...
Right, except for the fact that he doesn't like her.
Well, okay.
And she's overbearing. I mean, you can see it at the basketball gym. Like when she's really feeling like Hannah Brown, it takes a special kind of guy to be that goofy and to be the yin to her yang. I don't think it's Jed.
Well, when you're a serious musician and you got to perform, you can't be that playful.
Exactly.
You got to stay in your lane. No,
Right.
I'm this musician. Okay?
And a struggling musician need not a dependent partner. A codependent partner is the kiss of death if you're on the road trying to make it in blues. Okay, so she's a goddamn boob because she says this is the most excited she's ever been on a one-on-one after he told her that he came on the show, not because of her, but because of his musical
Well,
career.
I was on pins and needles. I was saying, is this a misstep or a well-played con? And apparently she bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Well, bravo, Jed. We will see you in week 10. Whatever hometowns are. All right, group date. Let's get to it. Date card says something about bleeding and crying. Pat, need a roll call.
Oh, you want a roll call?
Yep.
Roll call! Hit the music, Nick! Hit it! Mateo, no fucking wayo! Connor! Wasn't even in this episode. Garrett, moving up in the ranks. Dylan, Fat Faso. John Paul Jones. A communication breakdown. Dustin, token black guy, not going to be around long. Devin, who the fuck are you? Grant, I think doing better. Peter, your face is getting fat as well. Ted, hurt his shoulder. Kevin, Luke
Ted?
S, total pussy. Is there a Ted here? I
What
don't
is
know.
going on?
Mike, you're a total bitch. And Luke P, you're a psychopath. Or let's look up the definition because I need to make sure he is in fact a psychopath.
Hey, so listen, you said Mateo Noea is one of the greatest nicknames he's ever come up with. I agree. I think a counterpoint to that would be Fat Faso. That's not a very good one.
And Peter.
I'm sorry. Peter the pilot is now Puffy Peter, the pastry eater.
Oh, holy shit.
And he
Right off my
totally
head.
redeems himself.
It is said that they're going to play a game of rugby. And, the kind of guys that play rugby, I couldn't really hang with. And if you want to see a guy who really needs to calm the fuck down, here he is.
There's no timeouts. There's no water breaks. It's a full contact sport, boys. Somebody's getting smashed every minute into this game. We've seen some gruesome stuff out on this field. We've seen people knocked unconscious, seen people breaking their legs hanging off, only being held on by skin and sock. You get smashed, you stand up and you smash somebody. And that's how you play rugby.
All right, so that coach or whoever the fuck that guy was, that was a little intense.
But you think so?
Well, then I got a clip of Luke rallying up the Blues and Whites team. Can I play a clip of Luke?
Yeah, please do.
Would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
I thought that was a little grandiose. I mean, it's a game, okay?
I mean, the love those soldiers had for their country is the same love that the members of the Newport Rugby Club have for the New England Rugby Championships, all right? They will die on that field.
You know, I know it was a bit and all, but I am literally... my chills have not gone away yet. That fucking scene, that performance, yes, he's an anti-Semite and a drunk, but oh my God, can Mel Gibson make a fucking movie?
He's a racist as well.
Anyway, so let's get to Hannah being fucking insane. She says that she doesn't want anyone to be hurt, but is also letting out blood-curdling screams when the guys are slamming into one another. She's getting way too hot.
She's turned on by violence.
100%. And she's also doing nothing to stop it. A lot of these tackles are really poor form, head on the inside as the guys run into the sideline.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Get the head on the outside.
So let's get into the game. The first casualty is Ted, or as everyone else calls him, Kevin, as I call him, Vampire Pig. So he gets what we think is a dislocated shoulder, and once he's out of the way, we can have a good time. So the green team is getting dominated very, very early.
I did have some thoughts on Kevin just bouncing out and walking up to the coaches and saying, "Oh, I don't think I can play anymore." Like, it's your shoulder. The worst that could happen. He said dislocated shoulder. Just stay there. You're a puss.
I had a different take, Nick. I don't want to bump heads with you,
right.
But I think he took it like a man. What if his shoulder was dislocated? I've heard that is extremely painful.
Unbelievably painful.
I've seen grown men cry.
Yeah, so this is something that a theme that I think is coursing through this here date. There is playing sports for free, and there is being paid to play sports. And you should conduct yourself in two completely different ways based on how much you're being paid. If you're being paid nothing and your shoulder feels like it just fell out, stop playing.
But you're self-eliminating yourself. Hannah doesn't want to see you ride off in an ambulance.
And then we get to the person who is really, really playing like he is making a 5-figure-a-year deal. That's Luke P. So when the green team gets a couple more points on the board, Luke P gets fired up because the blue and white had been dominating the game.
Scores of 5 points for a touchdown?
Not sure how it works. Don't really care either.
Seemed to be 5 points and 2 points for the extra. I was very confused by it as well because it made it appear as though one team was up by quite a bit.
Yes.
But it turned out to be only 2 scores.
Right.
Which is very interesting. Yeah, Luke P. turned into Red Ross.
Yeah, he turned into a real doink. So off the play, completely off the play. And you said that we broke this down like what?
This is a Bruder film.
We looked at this thing over and over again. You can see it very, very clearly.
For you non-historians, this is a piece of video caught that had one of our former presidents' brains splattered out of the backside of his head.
Why are you being coy?
Oh, John F. Kennedy when he was shot in Dallas in 1963.
By George Bush Sr.?
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who are not Friends historians, I just mentioned Red Ross and no one even questioned it.
Yeah.
Ross from Friends.
Yeah. Oh.
Classic episode, the one with all the rugby. Ross tries to impress Emily by playing in a rugby game with her friends Liam and Devin, and then he gets really hurt, so he says he has to turn into Red Ross, which is when he got really mad at a guy at Dances with Wolves. And then he turned into Red Ross, and he played really dirty, and he hurt a bunch of Emily's friends, and everybody was happy.
Oh. Sounds like a children's tale. So Luke P. completely off the play.
I will say the best thing that happened in that episode was Chandler breaking up with Janice by moving to Yemen. He got on the plane.
Her voice was so annoying.
I hear Yemen is nice this time of year. But let's get back to the show. Yeah.
Back to analyzing the game film.
This is exhibit A of how fucking dumb this guy is. When you let testosterone wash over you, you're an uncontrollable maniac because you're playing rugby? That is the mark of a very dumb fucking human being.
Or a competitive person, which I...
No.
No, hold on.
That's not competitive.
I
That's
don't like
psychotic.
Luke P, but we're talking about a specific event here, and then we should discuss that. The Luke P interaction where one person said, you kicked me in the head, you picked me up and you threw me down. We saw the film. What I saw was a guy getting off the ground and then fucking charging at Luke P, and Luke P picked him up like a little bitch and tossed him down on the ground. And then he walked away. Nick, did you see the same thing that I saw?
I saw him walk at him a little bit. Yeah. You're looking at us like this is the grassy knoll theory right now, all right? I'm telling you.
It's not what I saw.
I think Luke P got up enraged, and then he quickly realized...
Luke S got up enraged.
Luke S got up enraged, and he quickly realized he should not do that, but it was too late. He had ignited Luke P.
Did he walk in the same direction in an aggressive manner towards Luke P, Nick?
I think so. I think so. I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes.
Okay.
I don't think he walked that he was probably pissed off. He got up in a tizzy because he just probably... Again, they're completely off the play. We didn't see what happened during the play, but they're very far away from the ball. God knows what Luke P even did to Luke S.
The entire controversy is what took place after him being on the ground.
I know, but what caused Luke S to get up angrily was probably unsportsmanlike. We didn't even see that. Then we saw Luke P pick him up and slam him on the ground so fucking hard, shoulder into the chest, that having the wind knocked out of you like that is, you're not fucking around there. That hurts like shit. It's not a fun feeling. It's like getting punched in the face.
All right, fine. The video will be posted and the baby birds will decide who's right.
I would equate being punched in the face to this. I think it's just as bad. Picking somebody up and slamming them on the ground like that. Fucking maniac.
This is exactly why the Zapruder film was broken down hours upon hours and still is to this day, all right? People are going to be looking at the Another Bachelor podcast Instagram, which will have this footage for years to come.
All I'm saying is, if you are not getting paid to play a sport and you are letting this shit happen to you, you are measurably stupid.
I always love Leon Dion Sanders or whatever the hell when he's commentating.
Celine Dion Sanders.
Celine Dion Sanders. I don't know, whatever he's like doing in the booth or whatever, like the NFL, ESPN, whatever.
Come on, baby.
No. There's clips of him where a wide receiver is reaching out to catch a ball and then he doesn't do it because he knows he's going to be wrecked.
Yeah.
And Deion Sanders will be like, financial decision.
Celine Dion.
Celine Dion.
Celine Dion Sanders. Okay, so do we have to get to a clip from Luke P?
Okay. So regardless of how you feel, your opinion on how this took place.
I am so blown away that we have differing opinions. I totally thought we were all in line. I'm very taken aback.
Dylan, first off, I think Luke P is a total jerk and very aggressive and an asshole. That being said, I have a different opinion on what took place during that event. Now, Luke P walked up to Luke S and said, hey, dude, I'm sorry. He did say with the sorry, I did it in self-defense. And then we cut to Luke S doing a on the fly, and this is what he said about what had taken place.
Luke can't control himself. Freaking animal. I mean, it's just crazy to see. I've never seen anything like it before in my whole life. I think at this point it's safe to say that in competitive situations he poses a threat to other people.
You think? Wow.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Dylan. Luke P is overly aggressive. I do think all of these guys handled it like complete sissies. That was super politically correct of me.
Well, I'll just go ahead and say it. This whole like, hey, I'm sorry I acted in self-defense. We'll get to all the lies that he told about the fists that were going to fly at him. I don't like tough guys who are pussies. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're going to be a tough guy, be a tough guy. These people that get into fights and they start fights and they sue people after the fight's over. Like, if you're going to be a tough guy, be a tough guy. Don't be a bitch. Luke P is a bitch.
I agree.
God, I fucking hate that guy so much.
I too hate litigious people.
Should we get to the night date?
I think so.
I think so too, but before we do, let's hear a quick word from our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by Jonathan's Video Rental. Hi, I'm Jonathan. After years and years of scrolling through Netflix, unable to find anything worth a stink to watch, I decided it was time to do something. I first sent letters to Netflix asking for them to include things that people actually wanted to watch, like The Hours or Porky's, but alas, no response, no action taken even at all. After being turned down for numerous loans and licensing agreements to open my own blockbuster franchise in Altadena, I decided it was time to do something. So I went to my grandmother's home. As always, she's had the best films, and I found her wide-eyed and breathless on her recliner. I freaked and touched her cold skin, searching, hoping for a pulse, but sadly felt nothing. I quietly collected myself and then her belongings, as she had no use for them anymore. She always said, "You don't need a VHS of Madison County to play in heaven. They have it playing whenever you want, and you certainly don't need jewelry, Jonathan." And when she asked me where I was going with her things, I screamed, startled, and hugged her hard with her favorite pillow as her cats Harold and Lucy meowed at me, unable to do a thing. So come on down to Jonathan's Video Rental to actually walk amongst the movies, not just scroll through them. Night date.
Night date!
So Hannah pulls Luke P first, and he continues to prove that he's marginally smarter than a chimpanzee by lying about Luke S, charging at him with fists. He thought he was going to punch him in the face.
Well, she wants to get to the bottom of it, and at this point, if you would, like, in one sentence say what his defense is, it was self-defense. That's what he says.
I guess so.
And this is the point where he throws him under the bus.
Oh, yeah.
Luke S. under the bus.
You know, the tequila company, I'm just sitting here just absolutely irate because the man can't do anything to defend himself. I guess, you know, we were arguing about whether or not it was diabolical or intelligent or crafty or whatever, but he is setting up these things that Luke S. can't defend. He just looks like he's treading water if he tries to defend them.
He should have leaned into him, like, yeah, I talk about my tequila business. It's a passion of mine.
Right.
Like that's what we talk about with the guys. I'm not here to promote it.
I know. Why can't you just say, yeah, I've talked about what I do before. We're sitting in a house for 8 hours a day with
no TVs,
or
cell
books.
phones.
Yeah, I've talked about it before.
Yeah.
I've also talked about you before.
Can I also break down Luke P at this point in the game as well, episode 4? Luke, this is was your game to lose 2 episodes ago. All you had to do was act normal.
Yeah.
And this chick is so into you, as not to get ahead of myself, but she's later on supposed to spend a day with a guy, and she's all wrapped up in this Luke P thing, which at this point, I had no idea that she would still be. She is physically attracted to Luke P. All he has to do is be normal, and he can't. He's his own worst enemy, essentially.
Yeah.
But is it helping? Like, that is she so batshit? Like, this is why it keeps digging deeper. Like, how do you not believe Luke S. in this situation?
How do you not believe Luke S?
Getting ahead of myself.
All right, let's get to Luke S. I think that Luke S. kind of dominates him, or would have dominated him to a reasonable human being.
He doesn't articulate himself very well. Like, he seems to get wrapped up. Like he should be more simple with his explanations of things, and yet he spirals, in my opinion. Like, she asked him a direct question, and he's like, well, like you had just said, like, yeah, I have an alcohol company that I'm working on. I talk about it, but I'm here for you. And he's lying. Done. Move the fuck on. Instead, he's like, he hit me today.
No.
You should have been there. Ask the other guys. Like, he kneed me in the face and threw me down, and I'm not scared of that guy. Okay.
I think that this is a little hyperbolic, but I think
that was a quote.
He has truth on his side. That's why I think he kind of has the upper hand here. I mean, all he has to say, which he says, is he picked me up and slammed me on the fucking ground. We were 30 yards away from everybody.
I'd never admit that as a man. I'd never admit that as a man. Already you're a bitch. Wait, because she's like, wait a minute. You were just up there, and he picked your little body up and slammed it down on the ground and then put his knee on your face?
Listen, honey, let me tell you a little something about jiu-jitsu, okay? I was using his weight against me, and I was about to put him in a guillotine. He did not pick me up.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna. I was trying to get you do more Hannah B.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's also one of the
that's her. Yeah.
one of the major principles in Hapkido, the form of South Korean martial arts that I took as a young boy. Your power plus my power equals my power.
It's a constant in many martial arts.
You want to say that Luke S is a bitch for saying what happened, then you've got a revolving door of bitches coming into this.
Yes, we do.
This scene here.
Yes, we do.
Everybody says the same thing because it's what happened. I don't think it makes them bitches. I think she's inquiring about what the fuck happened. They're all like, yeah, he's an insane person who picked Luke S up and slammed him on the ground. Why is that bitchy?
I don't think it's bitchy because they said that. I think they all acted like bitchies during the game. Like, oh my God, he's playing physical. Hit him back, you bitch.
Yeah, fight. Like this is what men do. You heard that coach earlier in that clip, and then you also heard what Luke said.
You know what you need to do in a situation like this? You can't go shoulder to shoulder with this guy. You have to be coy about your fouls. Drop a knee on his knee when you're running next to him. Take the MCL out. Don't step on the Achilles. Don't try and go brute force with this guy. Take the tendons and the joints out.
That's what Red Ross did. That's why I brought it up.
I'm glad you did. So I don't like Micro Mike. I think that's been said.
Small penis disease, and now he's a bitch. He spends more time talking about other people than himself. And what is that quote that, like, when you spend more time talking about the other person than yourself, then
you're a bitch? Is that what?
Well, that's mine.
Oh, got it.
Eleanor Roosevelt, I don't know if this is what you're referring to.
Love this quote.
Said, regular people talk about things, big people talk about ideas.
Small people talk about other people.
Yeah.
With small dicks. And that is
she
never...
didn't say that.
She didn't?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I think they just don't include that part of the quote. She might have said that, I think, Pat.
Well, and that applies to Micro Mike.
Well, I wish we could get a direct quote from Luke here because he does the most bizarre rambling about his memory of the situation.
Okay, when prodded by a group of men about what took place that day, because they're all attacking Luke P, I thought this was not good. He basically said he had amnesia. Did he not? He couldn't remember the events.
Which is a lie because he's lying about the events. This is what's like so baffling to me about this behavior. Everybody's like, oh, there's layers to this. Like, no, he's just lying and he's doing stuff to cover up the lies. It's not diabolical. It's dumb.
It happens really quick. People are telling you later on, hey, dude, you like need him in the face. And then another guy will come up and like, hey, dude, I saw you just brush up against him. Like, hey, you be put in the position where you have to slam down a little whiny bitch like that on the side of a field. And then what happens after? You're caught up in the moment. Who knows?
I'm blown away by your commentary this evening. Who would you rather have a beer with, Luke P or Luke S?
None of this is what he's saying.
None of the above.
Yeah, none of the he's not saying he likes Luke P. We think Luke P's a maniac, but all of the things are plausible. He's using the right cards to defend his actions.
Thank you, Nick. By the way, don't paint this black and white. People are very complex. Situations are very complex. Oh, Luke P did this. This means no. He can be many things at the same time. He is a diabolical piece of shit, a dummy, a loser. That does not mean that he stepped on this guy's neck on that day and that guy didn't deserve it. All things can be true and not true at the same time.
He's no Quark, and we're not talking about quantum physics here. He's a dumbass who's caught in a lie on tape and is drowning. I'd rather have a beer with Luke S. I don't really like him either, though.
Maybe he'll pay for the tequila.
He's a political consultant. I think he could be some fun conversation over a beer, to be honest. But I wouldn't hang out with him on a regular basis.
So let's get to the confrontation between Luke S. and Luke P. Pat, do you have a clip?
I'm here for Hannah, and don't you ever forget it. It makes me so angry that I have to sit in there with the woman that I really, really like and defend myself over some garbage fed to her by some psychopath. I never want to see you again in my life. Seriously.
Okay, well, I really hope that you turn around. And I would love to continue to get to know you on a more real and deeper level. Because, man, all I've done is try to be cool with you. All I've done is respect you.
I don't think he got that out of his mouth correct. Luke P. When he says, I think you should turn around.
I don't think he gets most things correct.
I think he was saying, I hope our relationship can turn around.
I thought he was trying to say he wants to fuck him.
Oh. Well, he's already made him into a bitch, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
Turn around, it's all starting to make sense.
I am going to kind of walk that back a little bit. He does sound a little bit bitchy in that clip. But I feel for him because he's so frustrated. He's like, why is this dumbass getting the better of me?
Meanwhile,
Peter and Hannah have a lovely conversation. It's a lot of platitudes from Peter. Just tons of we always have that one guy who's like, they're progressing, but they're not really talking.
Not really. Not to get ahead of ourselves. I think it's a different conversation later in the episode.
Yes.
He asked her to be his GF.
Yes.
But you know who's making waves here? Is the golf pro.
Garrett.
Who the fuck would have saw this coming?
Yeah. He kind of like takes like, maybe this isn't the right term, but he's like the Joan of Arc role here. I mean, he's very heroic in trying to mediate between these two, and he seems like he's got a clear sight on what is right and what is wrong, and I think that propels him to have a lot of confidence this evening.
Yes, he takes the high ground here. He also has to remind her, hey, I'm the one who got the touchdown earlier. I don't know if you remember me. I'm the guy who picked you up, spun you around. Yeah. I got the touchdown. And by the way, I'm straight up crushing on you.
Yeah.
Boy.
Straight up, baby.
Wow.
And also, I can get you $225 off a sleeve of TP5s if you use my discount at the store.
The Golf Pro store.
Yeah, at the pro shop.
Mm-hmm. This is a perfect time to talk about Second Swing. Just a great place to go
Absolutely.
Get your reused clubs.
Second Swing has every brand you can think of, Ping, Mizuno, TaylorMade, all of them, slightly used for great prices. They are...
I would even see gently used.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to the next day, please.
Well, hold on. Garrett gets the rose. She gives Garrett the fucking rose, which is insane. I call it the safe rose. Mm-hmm.
Huh. Why do you call it that?
Because she's not really into him. She's just giving him a rose where he gets to stick around for another week.
Yeah, it's not going to make waves or anything. It's not like she's going to pick Luke S or Luke P,
I thought it was another example of in a different kind of format, a pity rose.
Yes.
You're not, same thing you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's really sad to see these group dates going out there because you know that these guys aren't getting it. You feel bad for the ones that keep getting group dates. Like, we'll see Grant and Dylan on every group date moving forward for the rest of the season. They're not getting one-on-ones.
Are you saying you have pity on them?
I do.
I would argue with that point, though, Dylan.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did Garrett come from out of the back of the pack?
Doesn't matter.
Well, all right.
He'll break his leg. He won't make the journey.
This is Santa Ana, baby. It's an epidemic.
Yeah, that's insane. Sorry. Thinking about horse death. Horse genocide, really, if you think about it.
Well, Dylan, are we referring to Santa Anita horse race?
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the saddest aspects of horse racing is what happens to the horses when they're not needed anymore. They get shipped down to Mexico.
Yeah, and they just feed them a bunch of Jell-O.
Well, no, they put a fucking bullet in their head and they process horse meat.
Yeah, because they stock them with. I've heard what he's talking about. They feed them Jell-O and then there's glue.
Yeah. You feed them a bunch of Jell-O. They get all full. They don't want to be full. They're laying down and they're full of Jell-O. And then you shoot them and they turn into glue.
I didn't know the glue factories were in Mexico. You learn something new every day.
Horse meat. People eat horse meat. I saw it on Brian Couples' sports, whatever, real sports.
Let's get to the next day.
Next day.
Speaking of alcoholism, Hannah's drinking continues to scare me. It is 9 a.m. in the morning. She is drunk again, inconsolable and crying her eyes out, dangling her legs above water that she'll surely drown in if she slips into.
Or is it the low point of that spectrum of the mood swings? You get the highest of highs, and then there are the lowest of lows.
God, bipolar disorder is a terrifying thing to witness.
Mm-hmm.
But man, when is it good? It's good,
Yeah. We saw her in 75% of this date. Like this episode, it was amazing. She's like, we see her later on with the street musician with the plastic 5-gallon buckets, like drumming, having a great time, singing, life of the fucking party. But then the downside is That girl curled up in a ball in a bed in a dark room, farting it up, sad, hasn't eaten for days.
Drinking Henny.
There you go.
Yeah.
Somehow, as a woman peeing in a bottle because she doesn't want to leave the room.
Yeah.
You do that?
Scratching her ass.
Growing her fingernails really long and they're
Yeah.
not painted anymore.
Okay, so poor Tyler Chill has to contend with the lowest of lows.
But he's excited. You see him, he walking down that pier. He has no idea what he's going to be running into.
Zero clue, we should say. Obviously, he gets the one-on-one card, but he needs to not talk and listen because she is trying to say something desperately. And I think what she wanted to say was, I don't want to go on this date. I'd like to postpone this date. And he keeps caressing her face and saying, it's all going to be chill.
Now, Dylan, I'm glad you brought this up because this is a prime opportunity for me to let the audience know a new business that I've created. I don't know if you guys knew this. I've been doing this kind of off the grid. I didn't want to let you guys know because I know you'd try and ask for a piece of it. But I've opened an online school, Pat's School of Bachelor Laws of Power and How to Get Your Ass to Second Place. I don't know if you knew this.
Is that a working title?
No. That's it. .com. Anyway,
It sells.
Tyler signed up for this months ago before he went on the show.
Huh.
And my boy has been heeding my advice. He did everything that I advised him to do.
I'm a little upset you didn't tell us about this, but please proceed.
When she was crying and basically trying to tell him, no way, Jose, what did he do?
No way, Mateo.
He said, let's have some fun. Don't sweat it. I'm here for you. No pressure. Let's just enjoy the day. I'm here for you. Superman, one of his weaknesses was kryptonite. Do you know what Hannah's kryptonite is? Compliments.
Oh.
I thought you were going to say Auburn.
No. She has a weakness. She will buy into compliments. She has low self-esteem, and she's a pageant queen. When you tell her how beautiful she is, how much you're there for her, how much you want to be there for her, she'll buy into anything, and he did exactly that. Well done, Tyler C. And let me just give myself another plug. Anybody wanting to be on the show in the future, please go to Pat's School of Bachelor Laws of Power and How to Get Your Ass to secondplace.com. And Pat's there for you. I'm also welcoming in the ladies, too, to be on The Bachelor.
Very interesting.
Hey, add music to that later to sell it.
Pat bought that domain for $50,000.
Had to haggle the guy down from 60 too.
Yeah, I was saying it's a steal.
Yeah. So I don't think that she likes him. I think that she's annoyed by him, but he is so hot. He is one of the hottest pieces of dick that ever compete for a final rose. And that is keeping him in this game. I think that you're going to get a lot of uggos signing up for that, and I think you're going to have a lot tougher time coaching up a deuce and a half to win a man's heart.
All are welcome.
Okay, they go lobster fishing. Do we need to talk about this date at all?
It's probably the best lobster anyone in this room has ever tasted when it's coming off the shores of Gloucester. You guys will love it. You take a piece of that lobster tail, fresh off, right out of the boiling pot.
Yeah.
You dip that in some butter, put it in your mouth. It's the best thing you ever fucking tasted.
You know, it's very, very strange that we've devised such a sociopathic manner in which we kill crustaceans. It's very bizarre that we drop them alive in boiling water.
Well, I'm actually against that practice. You should drill them in the head with a I don't know, a hammer or a screwdriver.
Yeah.
Kill them before. You shouldn't burn them to a slow death.
No other animal has that experience in the animal kingdom on planet Earth. Just these poor fucking lobsters and crawfish.
Well, the reason I came to that position is I actually worked at Weathervane Seafoods, a small franchise in the New England area from the early 90s to the early 2000s. I would hear the lobsters scream as they were being boiled alive. It was disconcerting.
He still hears it when he goes to sleep at night.
All right, let's get to the night date. Do we have any thoughts on the proceedings of this evening?
Night date. It happened at Old White Tavern, the oldest tavern in America.
The oldest, whitest tavern in the Americas.
All of this is synonymous, but it is technically the White Horse Tavern.
Okay, got it.
But yes, like you said, America's oldest tavern, which Hannah B dropped to Tyler C like it wasn't outside on a sign. Yeah, hey, it's also the gathering place of members of the colonial legislature. A yearly gathering. Did I say that?
No, you left that part out, and I was waiting for it.
Yeah, it was a yearly, specifically gathering place for the members of the colonial legislature. But now that I think about it, possibly Tyler C. can't read.
They do sit down, they go inside, and luckily they don't have to read it all. All they have to do is talk. And while he struggles with that, he does do a very, very good job tonight. The story he tells about his father. Now, this is perfect trauma quotient. This is...
Wonder who told him how to do that.
This is a great sales tactic. We should be charging the Another Bachelor Podcast LLC should be charging this school for this type of integrated marketing.
Absolutely. I am fuming. I'm trying to pat it down, but the fact that he's done these dealings without uttering a single syllable about them. We've been doing this podcast for 2 weeks now. It's absolutely insane that you've been hiding this.
Shady.
So the thing that you've coached him up to say here, I don't know if it's true or if it's not true, if he's prying from actual experience or completely lying. With you, I'd say it's the latter, but...
Stay positive, always reassure her, compliment her, and end with a great closer, preferably someone who's dying.
So... Dad, Tyler Chill's father, was not in good sorts. He was very, very sick. I think he was in a coma or something like that. And the way that he recovered was with Tyler C. watching Hannah Brown on The Bachelor. Oh, my God. I mean, it's like it was made in a factory to get second place on The Bachelorette.
It kind of is, right?
She mentioned at one point... she asked him if he cooks. He's like, oh, yeah, big-time griller, big-time chiller. He said that. That's a direct quote.
No, it
Wow.
isn't.
Yes, it is.
Oh, my God.
I had captions on.
And that's why we call him Tyler Chill?
Well, Nick said the C stands for chill.
I did?
Yeah, many moons ago you said that.
Oh, nice. I just thought that was a hilarious name you came up with.
No, that was all you, baby.
Every time you were saying Tyler Chill was killing me. Still funny.
Okay, so let's get to the musical performance. We've got a performance by Jake Owen. Why are you sighing?
Because I hate digressing. I just have a way quicker Yelp review of White Horse Tavern.
Okay.
Stephen T. The place has 3 out of 5 stars, same as Cheers. Not a good sign. Stephen T's from Boston, only 3 reviews. So he was really motivated to... put this one out there.
Normally, I think there's a wife behind that, and she uses the husband's account.
Do you want this in the podcast? What you just said?
I think so.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put my name on it.
He writes, came in here for a pint on Saturday night, and the bouncer cracked my childhood driver's license in half while validating it before letting me in. Couldn't use it on the flight the next day. Had to be looked up by TSA by credit card. Come here if you want to drink in Fort Knox with the biggest losers in all of Boston.
Oh, all right. So it was one of those bars. Okay. Now, Nick, I believe what took place here is the door guy took his ID thinking that this gentleman is very young. And what they would often do is they will actually take your ID and, wrong medium. I'm making a motion of actually bending it back and forth.
Yeah.
He apparently snapped this man's ID back, ripped it in half, right?
Yeah. And it was a memento for this young man. And
How was the rest of the staff, I would argue?
Yeah.
It was a common complaint that the bouncers were getting a little aggro. Someone was like, as soon as it hit 1 a.m., they just started choking everybody out. Like,
it's a Boston bar.
Okay, so let's go to the musical performance.
Jake Owen.
Jake Owen. Now, I don't know. Do you guys have any info on Jake Owen?
I actually do.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. So I did a little digging because, these musical artists, this one looked a little long in the tooth.
Right.
Normally we got these young guys. The record labels are, the show treats it like they're A&R development or something like that, trying to launch new artists. What was this old guy with like some little gray hairs popping out of the side of his head? Turns out he's 37 years old.
Yeah.
First record deal was in 2006 with RCA Records. His first record spawned 4 songs that hit in the top 20 of the country Billboard hits or whatever.
Yeah.
Since then, he's been writing songs for various country artists. His song Tonight, I thought was pretty generic. It probably played at a lot of weddings, talking about love and you were made for me. Turns out in his own personal life, the songs do not reflect his personal relationships. He married a model in 2012. They were actually engaged on a stage at a country music festival. They were divorced 2.5 years later, and now he's dating someone new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This
3 years of marriage.
Yeah, I know a little bit about him. He's a douchebag. He's a bona fide douchebag. He's a name dropper, I tell you. I've listened to him on the golf podcast circuit, big golfer, and because of his marginal talent, he is allowed in every pro-am with every superstar golfer in the world, and he is allowed backstage access to the PGA Championship, the Masters, all of it, just because he's Jake Owen. Nobody's ever heard of you, you putz, you name dropper.
Well, his star has definitely started to dim.
This is so exemplary of our just knowledge coming from 3 different places. Like, we all have different info. I've just known about him because right around that time you mentioned 2006, that's when I heard I didn't know much about his personal life, but he's been big for a while. Like, people know who Jake Owen is in the country music world.
Of course.
And Danielle Melby, you'll remember her from
D-Mel, yeah.
And this could very well end up in errors and omissions. She was in one of his music videos. She was like the star, the star.
Totally.
I think we touched
Probably
on
had
it.
sex with her too.
Yeah.
100%.
And we'll move on very, very soon. But, Jake Owen's responsible for the famous Phil Mickelson story. The one where he goes up and he says, I want my $39 back. And Phil Mickelson hands him $100. And he goes, take it. I made 900,000 of those yesterday. Fuck off.
That's not a great example of how Jake Owen is an asshole.
Yeah. And now let's talk about something else. That being the cocktail party. Now, guys, this is where the episode crescendos. The confrontation between Luke P. and Luke S. ratchets up. Hannah comes in. Thank God she's lucid. And toasts to a great night. This is when Peter takes her aside and asks her to be his girlfriend.
Puffy, Peter, pizza eater. Did you see the scene like after he does this? She's like, I have a boyfriend now. I'm someone's girlfriend. He is laying his fat body on top of her on that small couch, laying himself out there.
Yeah.
I thought what
he's disgusting.
Yeah, he's pretty gross.
He's disgusting.
Puffy
Peter,
pizza.
pizza.
Okay, great. So he's going to lose unless Jed voluntarily leaves this show or turns Hannah down.
Although I will say this, gentlemen, we've been doing this show for a number of years now. Who's the clear winner at this point? Who is it?
I think it's going to be between Jed and Peter.
Fat fuck?
Yeah, disgusting fat Peter. Okay, so...
Micro Mike's up next.
Yeah, let's talk about Micro Mike being upset that the actions of Luke P are still a cloud hanging over the competition. I mean, this is just made up. I mean, Peter's doing fine. He's laying his fat, disgusting body on Hannah. What? Garrett's doing fine. Mike, move on.
Everyone in this room at this point, you are wasting valuable time.
Yep.
Yes, I agree with that. As we've said, the rules of Bachelor, and once again, a shameless plug for me. You can learn all about this if you go to my website. But the worst thing you can do is you should be not throwing other people under the bus, arguing. You should be in there trying to win the heart of the girl that will decide who will be the next Bachelor.
Yeah, absolutely. The problem is, though, Micro Mike is a drama whore, and he's also a mean girl. He calls Luke P. I guess, we've been searching for what the P meant. this whole time, and whether it's oblivious or bigot, but it actually means psychotic. And Luke P actually pulls up the definition on his phone and says, I'm not that. I just read this. I'm not that.
That's why it was so hard for us to nail it down, because it was a silent P.
Okay, so Luke S. Is treading water. He's losing this battle to an idiot, and I feel sorry for him.
This is where we start. I've never seen this on this show before. This is very interesting. So the Lukes are against each other. Both have a story. Obviously, the group is with Luke S. and his story, and then we have Luke P. But Luke P kind of has Hannah's heart. So this is where it gets crazy. We are going to spend the last 30 minutes of this episode basically having different meetings to try and get to the bottom of what took place on that soccer field or rugby field. Sorry. What took place on that rugby field, but also who's lying and who's telling the truth.
Yeah, which is insane to me that it's... I'll give him credit. At least he's driven the circumstances to this point. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry.
It's insane because you would think that just the guys walking the room, although some of them are trying to get out of this clean and not have to talk about either of the Lukes. They want their time, which is very smart. So Luke S. kind of loses on that. And once again, we have Luke P. she gets really hot for this guy. So anyway, Luke S. grabs Hannah first because he really wants to basically explain himself to her and make his case.
And it's more of the same. I mean, it's the same stuff they talked about post slamming down on the ground. There's more fallout because I think that he gets more information about what Luke P had said about him, and he goes and confronts him. Now, this is when everybody kind of starts to gang up on Luke P, and he has that dumb, like, fourth grader face where he's, like, really wide-eyed, and he looks very vulnerable.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, guys.
What did I do?
Such a piece of shit. And then this is the culmination of all of it. This is where we find out that Luke P is a truly disgusting human being. Pat, let's play the clip.
Yeah, look, I'm going to be honest here. She doesn't trust me. And it was because of what you said about the tequila thing, which is complete crap. You really think I'm here for that?
I mean, I have everyone
Luke,
here.
yes or no, man?
No.
Are you going to tell her that you feel that way?
Yeah, I plan on telling her that I do believe that you are here for the right reasons.
You can't just go to her and say, hey, actually, Luke S. is here for the right reasons. You need to go to her and say, what I said about Luke S. was wrong. I was wrong.
Okay. All right.
So that's the mission. Get in there and say, I was wrong about Luke S. And he says, I will do that.
I will say, Garrett's pretty cocky with that leg cross, that rose plucked right on his suit jacket.
Luke P's just like, shut up, pussy.
He's like, I'll slam you right now.
I thought when Luke P, although I know he's a piece of shit, I thought that at this point he'd redeem himself, walk in that room with Hannah, and dare I say, probably would have gotten him more points than what is going to happen maybe in later episodes.
Yeah.
He says, yes, I will go in there and I will talk to her. The best thing that Luke P, he didn't sign up for my school. The best thing that he could have done was get in there and go, you know what? I'm a fucking mess. I'm sorry, Hannah. I lied about Luke S. He's a great guy. He was talking about the business, and I did kind of spin that. He's a really good guy. He's here for the right reason, and I'm sorry, but I am too. Can you forgive me?
Now, see, I don't think that you can go that route. You have to be very, very good and very, very earnest to pull that off, because that is a death wish if you walk in there and fuck that up.
I thought Luke P handled it like a maestro. I was like, is this Luke P or Dudamel?
The problem with this strategy is that it only buys him so much time. He's going to get caught for this eventually. It's on camera, and all of the guys saw what he said he was going to say. So even if he does get Lucas sent home, there's no long con here. He's done. He's a dead man walking. This is scorched earth, and it's real dirty. Hey, do you want to play the clip of what he actually said?
Yeah.
The last person I want to talk about right now is Lucas.
Burning
But he
scorched
came up
earth.
to me, asking me to put in a good word for him to you, which I have no business concerning myself with. But what I want you to know is, what I told you the other night about him. My opinion about him being here for the right reasons. Although he tried to talk to me into thinking that he is here for the right reasons, nothing has changed.
So he's essentially saying Lucas is still a piece of shit.
Yeah. And you had a hot take earlier. This could have been okay if he hadn't said nothing has changed.
Yep.
You don't need to include that because that takes the ambiguity out of the attack.
Good point.
That was Nick's point, but it was a very, very astute one. But and this is getting back to my point.
Dudamel.
Maestro.
I don't think that he's crafty enough to pull this off successfully.
True. Because obviously if he even got to the point where she picks him, watching this, she'd go, I admit that was gross, but I know the real Luke. I mean, we always find a way to legitimize bad behavior.
Yeah, but there's just so much game left, and he has so many enemies in the house. He'll never make it. I think that Lucas is probably going to make it past him. I think Luke P is going home next episode. He's just has too many cards stacked against him.
Well, I closely watched that trailer for the rest of the season or next week, and he was not in any of the footage. But they've tricked us before, these goddamn producers.
Yeah.
He gets really mad at someone and he yells at someone's face, and that'll probably be his outro.
Yeah, I think that'll be the next episode. It seems like they're in similar garb and similar setting. Or was it during the daytime? I'm not sure, but it looked like they were in some all-white tavern or something like that. Nick?
Not to be confused with the White Horse Tavern, but I will say that the tactic he is using to stick around as long as he has is what's the buzzword that's being thrown around, gaslighting.
Yes.
He's gaslighting. Everybody keeps saying gaslighting,
Yeah,
gaslighting, gaslighting. I hate it.
I don't understand what gaslighting means.
It's just like bullshitting, lying to
listeners of this show will probably know, all too well my mental deficiencies, as has been on display this evening. But there are certain things that my brain can just not wrap my head around. I don't get daylight savings. I'll never understand it. You can explain it to me till the cows come home. I won't understand it, and I just don't get what gaslighting is. Hey, Pat.
Yes, Dylan.
How you doing, babe?
Well, mixed feelings this week. So.
Oh, really? Did we get some bummer reviews in the iTunes ratings and reviews?
Well, it's a little more complicated than that.
Uh-oh.
What I'm about to do gives me no personal pleasure. After receiving some troubling news earlier this week, it is with deep disappointment that the culling of the Facebook group has been reactivated.
Sick.
Apparently, several female baby birds have taken it upon themselves to send inappropriate photos with suggestive language to the hosts of this property. Now I realize that the launch of our podcast into the stratosphere has made us stars, and that's par for the course to get this type of lewd material in our inboxes. That being said, 2 of the hosts are married.
Do continue.
And the 2 hosts that are married are only willing to accept nude photos taken from the waist up, with a photo verifying the age of the photo sender and the age of consent. Now, someone needs to pay for the indiscretions prior to this announcement. So with that, 3 male members of this group will be tossed tonight. If your name is called, you know the fucking drill. You have 24 hours to send a Facebook message to me directly to kiss my ass and tell me how great I am, and then I will decide if you will stay in the group. Here are the names.
And proof of age, in case you send naked pictures, waist up only. Got it.
Here are the names. You got 24 hours. Gary Smith, you're fucking out. Alex Devine, you're fucking out of here. Andrew Smith, you are no longer part of the group. You have 24 hours.
I don't really think that this makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, this seems like evil chaos. We got a regular old Colonel Kurtz over here ruling with an iron fist and a bamboo blade. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. What is going on? So that's the end of the show. I don't want to end it that way.
Well, we end on a goddamn cliffhanger. Well, I was waiting for that rose ceremony the last 10 minutes, and it turns out it's just that more Luca on Luke drama bullshit. But I did like it. I'm curious to see who goes home next week. I wanted to do a roll call of who was staying, who was going. I didn't get...
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
I didn't get that
we could do a roll call of who's on the 2-on-1 next week.
Well, why? I didn't watch the trailer that closely.
If you wanted to do a roll call, I was just saying you could just yell Luke P and Luke S, but...
Oh. All right, so we had on a fucking cliffhanger. Let me throw this out there.
Yes.
Hannah B. I've mentioned this every single episode. Hannah Brown, Alabama Hannah.
Yeah.
Weaker bachelorettes in the past would have just called for the rose ceremony and sent one of these dummies home. The fact that she is doing her due diligence to investigate this thoroughly, I appreciate her. It makes me feel like she's more invested in the process than past contestants. I think this little bipolar little ball of fun is in it for the right reasons, and I've never said that before. By the way, the audience of this show will say that I hate every bachelor and bachelorette that has ever been on here, but no, I have proven you wrong. I like one of them, and it's Hannah B.
Well, I'm very sad that the episode's going to end without a roll call from Pat. That's pretty much trademark ABP. But alas, we're not going to get that this evening. We will see whose heads roll next week. For tonight, I'm Dylan saying hop in those iTunes ratings and reviews and join us on Facebook at Another Bachelor Podcast. Nick?
I just had a segment, errors and omissions.
Oh, shit.
Super quick. It's only one.
Oh, yeah. We have a fan favorite segment called Errors and Omissions.
It's where I explain places where we erred and things we omitted.
Thank you.
So Luke P, I thought was actually a good way to gain empathy. He walked in the room and he asked, he saw Kevin was back from the hospital. Yeah. He said, "Hey, Kevin, what's the diagnosis?" And Kevin said, "Sprained acromioclavicular joint."
Yeah.
That was a mouthful.
Duh.
The closed caption people put acromioclaviculus in quotation marks.
Wow.
So, flag went off. I looked it up. He had a sprained acromioclavicular joint. What an idiot. So I'm really just glad I corrected that.
Nick, thanks.
Yeah. Don't let Kevin fool you. Little pig nose man or something. What you call
vampire
him?
pig.
Vampire pig.
I hope he gets killed. I hope he's off the show next week for that.
Little pig nose man. All right, we got to get the fuck out of here. I'm Dylan saying goodbye. Nick, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Pat, say goodbye.
Bye.